Leaving streaming platforms is easier said than done, especially when you don't have anything to replace it with. I know my parents lost their iTunes accounts, and I have not recovered my music since then, so I had to rebuild everything from scratch. You decided to leave Spotify and get an MP3 player, but you don't find any good resources or you feel overwhelmed. Don't worry, I got you. Now, warning, building a music library is a process. It's not necessarily hard, but it is tedious. Personally, I downloaded my music while gaming and watching YouTube videos to pass the time. This tutorial is really meant for beginners. I can do a whole video on like metadata changing, software for music libraries if you want to, but it will be another video. Right now your goal is to get music, get it slightly organized and transfer it correctly to your device. First of all, I want to highlight the importance of supporting artists. You might not be able to afford music. Buying albums is expensive. Sure, you can buy secondhand. The goal is not to avoid paying artists, it's to build a music library you actually own and that cannot be deleted by a streaming platform. Now that this is out of the way, sorry if you hear slapping, my cat is slapping my keyboard and she's sleeping on my hand. So, now that this is out of the way, you will have to choose a storage option. Do not store everything on your MP3 directly without a backup. Why? Because if your MP3 or your SD card gets corrupted, you will lose everything. In my case, I have a home server. I will actually make a whole video on it. But you can have an external SSD, you can have a USB stick, or even an SD card. I recommend getting at least 128 gigabytes. If you can afford more, please get more capacity because it will allow you to grow with your music library. Now, where to download or to buy your music? You can have your music in many different ways. You can buy CDs and vinyls. Now, ripping vinyls is a bit harder because you have to get like specific equipment. A CD is easier because you can find like CD readers for quite cheap. You have websites like Bandcamp, which are amazing because you're paying directly the artist and you will get maybe a physical, but you can buy also the digital only version of the music. You get mp3 and FLAC. You have this website Oimoyo, I believe it's called. The music there is very cheap, but they only provide mp3, which is why it's so cheap. You also have Amazon, who lets you buy music directly from their Amazon Music platform. You don't need a subscription, although if you left Spotify, you probably do not want to support Amazon. You also have iTunes. Now, this is a bit risky. Why? Because iTunes is already discontinued, like the support has been stopped on iOS devices, and even if it's still supported on Windows, this could stop at any time. And it will not be the first time where a platform stops being supported and all your media disappears. There is this website that I love, that is archive.org. Not only does it have public domain music, it also has movies, books. It's basically an internet archive. If you know of any other platform where people can get music, feel free to share it in the comments below. Here is the route that I take when I'm looking for music. Now, if your space is limited or your storage is limited, I would recommend keeping FLAC files for your favorites and then get mp3 for the rest. FLAC files are amazing because they are much better quality. However, they do take a lot of space compared to an mp3 file. Oh, now your download file is full and disorganized. Don't worry. I would recommend first of all to work in batches. By that I mean do a list of your favorites, for example, and work by artist. Create a music file on your storage solution and do music, then artist, album, and then the song. You can go the whole like artist and then straight up put the songs inside the file, but for that your metadata, which is the data attached to the file, needs to be immaculate. Otherwise it's going to be disorganized everywhere and you're not going to know which song is which, especially if the metadata wasn't filled in properly by the source. The only external app that I will recommend in this video is mp3 tag. You can skip this step, but you will run into trouble later. So I recommend you do it as you go if you don't want to end up like me. This app saved my ass so many times, and I'm not even kidding. It saved me so much time and it took me a long time to find it for some reason. It's amazing. What it does is it lets you edit metadata in batches. What does that mean? That means if you have downloaded, for example, a lot of music from the same artist, but somehow in your mp3 the whole thing doesn't appear correctly, you can change the metadata directly, all at the same time. And you can do it from the file directly, which means if you sorted your music correctly, it will be a breeze to do. It also allows you to download album art, and you can also import metadata from online databases, which means you can change the whole tags in one go. Once you have done that, congratulations, you can now transfer your music. Make sure to double check, and you're done. If you made it till the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Also, please recommend me a good jazz band. If you have one, I would appreciate it. Bye!